get down to business? Join seasoned entrepreneur, community leader, and Army veteran Scott Shalom Klein, who will take you behind the scenes with those who work in America's small business scene and speak with leaders making an impact, creating jobs, and telling their story in entrepreneurship. So let's get down to business. On AM 560, The Answer, here's your host, Shalom Klein.
And indeed, we're all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship and business. We talk all about small business here. And today we're going to talk about a topic that affects every business that moves products, whether across the country or around the world. Yes, it is tariffs. Yes, it's a complex subject, but our guest is an expert at breaking it down. I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce Vickie Reilly. Vickie is the owner of Reilly International, a freight forwarding company based out of Wooddale. She has her finger on the pulse of how tariffs are reshaping the business landscape and the economy. In fact, she hosts a weekly webinar to help companies navigate these challenges. Vickie is a true authority on the subject, and she's here to provide us with valuable insights on how businesses can understand and adapt to the current trade environment. Vickie Reilly, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Shalom.
Absolutely. To start, Vickie, can you tell us a little bit about Reilly International, what a freight forwarding company does for its clients?
Sure. I really like to break it down into an analogy. A freight forwarding company is to cargo what a travel agent, if the world still knows what those are, I think we do, what a travel agent is to a traveler. So we understand where all the boats and all the planes are going in the world. Our company specializes in international transportation. So we get things from here to Mongolia or here to Zambia or here to Holland by air or by sea, and that's the primary part of one part of our business. The other part is that we're licensed U.S. customs brokers, and what that is essentially is what an accountant is to a taxpayer, we are to importers. So we're licensed by the Treasury Department to determine appropriate tariffs, apply duties, collect duties, and pay them to the federal government.
Amazing. And what inspired you to get into the freight forwarding business and start your own company?
It's an interesting, quick story. I needed a good job to the counseling office in my high school, and they had a bulletin board there that had some jobs on it. I was in the school work program, which was an excellent program back when I was in school, allowed you to get some credit for working. And there was a job opening for a clerk typist at a customs broker right near the airport, which is where I lived. So I applied for that job at the time, and honestly, it was the first thing I ever really did well in my life, and I loved it. And I loved it from day one, and I still love it today. So I kind of fell into it, which I'm very grateful for.
Amazing. And I know you host a weekly webinar specifically about tariffs. What's the main goal of that webinar? What kind of feedback do you hear from business owners who are trying to understand the current situation?
Well, so we launched that webinar back when the first reciprocal tariffs were launched, which was back in early April. So we knew that it was going to be confusing. There was a lot of conversation around that first meeting. If you remember, Trump on the Rose Garden lawn with the big board. So we had our very first webinar the day after, because we knew that it was going to be confusing and it was going to be impacting our clients' businesses significantly. So we really kind of practically pulled an all-nighter that night to understand exactly how everything was going to work, and then we presented information that first Tuesday, and it was really, really helpful. The landscape has been challenging, ever changing. So we update everything from what's the latest news, what we see that's coming down the pike, where to get information that's really solid about what's going on. There's some litigation around the tariffs. We update our clients on that. And really, it's just a way for us to make sure that we're keeping people informed. We go into some basics, and then because everybody's at a different level in their learning, but it's the feedback that we've gotten is that it's been incredibly helpful to our clients. And so we do it every Tuesday. We call it Tariff Tuesday because it's stressful. So we just wanted to have a little fun, even with the name.
And you probably have your tacos while you're having your Tariff Tuesday.
Yeah, well, maybe 5 minutes before, but yes.
If there's not tariffs on the tacos. But let's get specific. For a small business owner who imports or exports goods, what are some of the direct effects that they may be seeing right now due to tariffs?
Well, those tariffs are applied to goods when they enter the United States. And so, if you're purchasing something for $100 and the tariff used to be somewhere between 2 and 5%, and now if it's, we'll take the easiest one, if it's coming from Europe, it's 15%. And that's if it doesn't have other tariffs on it like aluminum and steel and what have you, but at the basics. The cost that they pay their supplier, so not the cost that you see as a consumer, but whatever cost they pay their supplier, the tariff used to be, let's say, 2 or 3%. Now it's 15%. If it's India, that's a much bigger number. Today another 25% was announced on India. So the difference is their cost is changing. So if you think about, running a business, having a lot of different component materials that go into your finished product, and they're all at varying duty rates because you're importing from a lot of different countries. The calculation of that can be difficult to make sure that your cost of your goods is covered, and you know what your cost is. Any business needs to know their numbers, so you need to know what your costs are, and you need to know all of the inputs that go into that, and tariffs are one of those.
For a business owner who feels overwhelmed by this topic, and I know that there are many because I get their messages, what's the most important first step that they should take to understand how tariffs are impacting their business?
Well, the very first step is to make sure that they're classified properly in the harmonized tariff schedules. That drives a lot of the levers on how tariffs are applied. So understanding the accurate classification of their products is the very first step. And then they could go to our website. We've built a matrix out with a lot of data supporting it. We don't put a paywall between it, so they can go to our website and get that information. And it's updated as soon as something's updated by executive order. We're updating it on our website.
And what's the one piece of advice, Vickie, that you'd want to give to businesses to help them plan for future tariff changes or uncertainty in the global trade environment?
Be sure that you're watching what's going on whitehouse.gov. There's a lot of information that's floating around in the news, and a lot of it is misleading. And no offense to the news, but this is a fairly complex topic, and so if people are just being introduced to it for the first time, it can be hard to explain it in a way that really makes sense. So understand what tariffs you're supposed to be paying and make sure you're checking what you're paying because it is complex. You want to be sure that, trust but verify, right? You're hiring professionals to do that work for you, but just be sure you check it and that you're in good communication about what the tariffs should be.
Amazing. Well, again, I'm chatting with Vickie, Reilly, and Vickie, you've shared and taught us so much. Vickie is the owner of Reilly International, a freight forwarding company based right here out of Wooddale, and she has her finger on the pulse of how tariffs are reshaping the business landscape in the economy. And as mentioned, she has a weekly webinar to help companies navigate these challenges. It is on Tariff Tuesday. Vickie is that true authority on the subject, and I've learned so much from her. And Vickie, I know our listeners will want to learn more about your work and learn about that weekly webinar. How can they do so?
Just go to our website. It's ReillyInternational.com. I'll spell that out quick. It's REILLY, Reilly International, all one word, .com. And there's a button that says Tools and Resources. Just click there, And down at the bottom, you can sign up for our tariff updates and our webinar invites. And just above that, you'll see a link that talks about the temporary tariff legislation, and you can get all kinds of information on there. No paywall, so you just jump on there. We just want to be able to help as many people as we can understand this.
That's always super positive. Well, Vickie, Reilly, thank you so much for your invaluable insights today. We're going to link in our show notes. And Vickie, please come back real soon. This is a topic that is not going away. It's in the news every day, and we need that expertise here and Get Down to Business. Listeners, we're going to be right back after the break with more small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You won't want to miss a minute of it. Be right back. Don't touch that dial.